Hey YouTubers, Trip, Maximum Overland. I wanted to do a quick review on these steps before I put them on so you guys could see them. From Amazon, they're the Hoke Road metal folding Wrangler strips. You get two, one for each side of the door. You can do front doors, back doors, whichever you choose. But I do want to say, for what you get, they're a really good product. It's definitely all aluminum. The construction is really good. That I was surprised about at the price point. But that being said, they have a locking set screw to keep them from moving when you're traveling. So if you're not going to be using them, you don't want to be flipping them out and grabbing you when you jump out of the vehicle. So it's got a set screw with the rubber grommet on it that you can run it in. But I was looking for something that was cost effective because you see what this part is, and it shouldn't be expensive, but it seems like these days everything is, and I kind of think that's taking advantage of the hobby that we live. But anyway, you see what it is, a grip step, and what it does is it replaces the factory bolts with these two here, and then you can use this to step on your slider onto this, the other foot on your tire, and then access stuff on your roof. That being said, it shouldn't be very expensive, and this I found to be a good price point. And again, it's all aluminum, it's super light. They said you with good hardware. The hardware currently on it's stainless, and the powder coating is actually done fairly well. I'm not seeing any gaps, I'm not seeing any overflow or thickness one way or the other. So I would say that overall for the price, it's definitely a good buy. Again, I do everything with the premise of budget overlanding and budget camping and then budget upgrades. There are things that you can't afford to skimp on, but this is definitely one of them. And so I kind of wanted to walk you through it real quick. It's really simple. The one thing I will let you know is getting these free is somewhat challenging, and I'll show you why. So it takes T50 Torx, and what you're going to want to do is, because there's so much paint in these, you're going to want to go ahead and take this and put it in, but you want to go ahead and drive it home. You want to hold it securely and then tap it in until you feel like it's not going in any farther. Sorry about the noise. And then with a ratchet. Now, I've done the other side already, and I've done these three, but I wanted you to see what type of force it takes or that you need to exert to break these free. Now remember, these are put on and everything's painted, so not only are you breaking the seal here with the paint and the bolt, but they are using some type of thread locker of some sorts. There's some dusty stuff that comes off of when you break it loose, and it's either that or it's corrosion, and I wouldn't think that we'd have corrosion on a 2020, but it's possible. I live in a dry climate. I live in a central north panhandle of Texas, and so it's pretty dry here. But either way, T50 Torx, put it in, hammer it down until you feel it solid. You'll feel the door bounce on you when you know it's fully seated. But I kind of wanted to show you the exertion that it takes. Now, I pride myself from being in pretty good shape and at least capable, right? And I was quite surprised at what it took. God. So, pretty severe. Now, I would equate that to shouldering a 12 gauge shotgun and firing it, not with dove shot either. I mean, it's a significant pop. But that's all it takes to break it loose. And you can see it doesn't do anything to the bit. But once you do that, then you can kind of quickly run them out with any kind of impact. But I don't know if you can see this, but I'll drink that in there. But you'll see that maybe it is corrosion now that I look at it. It could be, but you'll see the bits of paint and overspray, and that's what's locking these bolts in. So, and you'll see it right here as well on this hole. But after that, you can simply remove those, because again, the kit comes with new hardware. So we're gonna remove those. There was quite a bit of dirt from our last outing that came out of that. And then we're gonna go with the new hardware in the step. Now, it's not suggested, but I'm going to suggest it. I don't put anything back on this vehicle without some sort of Loctite, whether it's red or blue. Red for things that I definitely don't want coming loose, and blue for things that might have to come on and off because of maintenance issues or something like that. So what I'm going to say to you is I'm going to go ahead and put these on, and I'm going to lock them down, and I'm going to put some red Loctite on them. Not a lot, but I am going to use red Loctite. That way we know it's secure, and we don't have to worry about months down the road after, you know, hundreds of miles on bumpy roads that these things are loose and shaking. So let me step away and grab that, and then we'll go ahead and show what it takes to put them on. Okay, I'm back. So you'll see this is going to be thread locker. It's Permatex. Pretty simple stuff. Here's the locking screw that I was telling you about. It's got a rubber grommet, so when you drive it in, it creates pressure and doesn't want to back out. And then, like I said, it comes with 4 new stainless bolts. The only difference is, remember, these are Torx, and these are going to be Allen key. So remember to make sure that you have the appropriate Allen wrenches that you need before you start the project. So basically what I do is I just quickly run a little bit of this on there, this thread locker, and I don't use much. If you're going to go crazy on it, you could. I don't think it's needed. Again, it's just basically just to ensure that, and you can see that's all I'm putting on there. It's just basically to ensure that once we get this locked down and tight, it'll stay. And only because, you know, we try to mitigate maintenance as the best we can, and I think doing a good job the first time you do anything is my motto. And so we'll get this put on, and it's real simple, and these are the things that I want you guys to be trying to do at home, because yes, I love supporting our local shops and stuff, but at the same time, learning your rig and turning wrenches and doing simple upgrades like this are what gets you more involved with your vehicle and our hobby and what we do. And so I challenge you, start with stuff like this. Pretty simple things. You know, a shop would probably charge you a couple $100 to put it in. That's more than a part. So be mindful of that. Anyway, pretty simple. Run them in, find the threads. And they shift a little bit, which I don't understand why they have floating brackets from Jeep, but they do. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and kind of pre-start all of them. That way we know we're not cross-threading them, or we get halfway through the process and we've got to loosen other ones to make room to have one actually screw in, you know, properly in alignment. So let's get them all started here. This takes forever. But after that, we're basically going to just run them into snug so that we can go ahead and make sure that we square the bracket with each other and make sure that it's square with the door. And then, of course, none of the screws are bound, because if they're bound going in, then that means you've got something a little off adjustment-wise, whether it's leaning one way to the left or the right, or too high or too low. But as you can see, they're going in fairly easy, and so that means that I was lucky enough to get it right the first time. But anyway, get them all snug and make sure it's where you want it. What's up, babe? I was videoing. It's not your fault. So, back to what we were saying. So, everything should screw in pretty easily, and if it doesn't, that means that you've probably got something misaligned. So loosen them, move it around until you can run them in pretty easy. And again, I use red Loctite. I'm gonna go pretty snug on these. You know, enough where I'm, you know, pretty much bending this Allen key as we tighten them up. But that's for a good reason. We don't want these to come loose in the future, and we want them to be secure, because we are putting our body weight on them and it's holding the door in place. So it's important. So now that they're all done, that's it. And here's what I was talking about. What I like about it is, instead of being flat like most of them, it's serrated. So whether your boots got mud or snow or water, you're going to have traction on this. because it would not be fun to slide off this guy. I've seen people try to put their foot right here or on the door handles, break door handles, and just plainly slip right off of this and go down. Not a good deal. So anyway, it folds up nicely. It doesn't stick out much. You won't run into it. It's actually not much wider than your door handle sticks out. So that being said, that's done. And then the cool thing about it, I've seen a lot of them and they use a lot of tension screws and set screws. The problem with that is you can only tighten them so many times before they're just worn out. Well, the neat thing about this set screw is once you just run it in there, you know that, hey, I'm done at camp and I'm not gonna be loading for hours. So now that it's in there, it will not come out whatsoever. It is locked in and it's got rubber, so it's not gonna vibrate loose either. And so what I'll do is when I get to camp, you know, people would be concerned, and I saw some of the comments, and do me a favor, send some comments below if you think that there's something you wanna see. But people will say, oh, well, you know, where do you put them? You'll lose them or something. Actually, what I do is pull these and they'll go in my pocket. And I'll just leave them in my pocket. And that way, whenever I am done doing what I need to do with them, I'll just put them back in and I'm ready for the road. Now, you're wondering, why is he putting those steps on? He didn't have a roof rack. Well, so I am gonna put a small Safari cargo rack back here, just for some supplies. Because like I said, I've got something coming and it's gonna house most of all my gear. That way we'll be able to leave it, go run trails and come back to it. And you can guess what that is, but I'll do a reveal on that soon. Anyway, that was the premise behind it. And so this, and again, you can run another set. Depending on if you have a front light bar or a front rack, now you can stand on both of these to access any part of the vehicle, because here, you're gonna stand here and stand on the tire, you've got access to everything. So again, this is a do-it-yourselfer. I challenge you to do it, and this is just another gear tip. So thanks, have a good day, and check them out, Hope Road. I'll put the link in the descriptions. Peace.